Welcome, Tiny Hens, Big Dreams, here on our homestead in southern Ecuador.
This is a video about what we're growing, what we plan to grow, and why. Got this question a few times. There's a lot of videos out there. This is our take. This is what's important to us, based off of what makes us feel good.
If you've watched all those videos of like the 7 most important like crops for your homestead and the things you must grow, or survival foods and things.
Everybody's got their own opinions.
Everybody's got their own little like nuance to it. We come at it from the approach of we want to eat healthy. Health is critically important. We want to be happy. We want to enjoy our food. And it's what works where we grow.
It also is what works for us. Different people can and cannot eat different things, want certain things and not others. This is, of course, specific to us. I don't like the videos that say, these are the things you should grow, because everyone is different. Every family is different. Every property is different. Every location is different. This is ours. It's not going to be yours, but it might give you some insight as to why we are choosing what we are for crops.
It will give you the insight to take our list and then change it to make it your list.
Yep. This is also only about crops. We were going to smash everything into one video. This is going to be long enough as it is.
2 videos. We're going to have our crops. That's what this is. We're going to have our animal video. Because when you look at all the videos of this is everything we eat. We eat a lot of calories of meat. Separate video.
A lot of the crops that we are growing, or at least a few of the crops we are growing, are specifically to feed the animals. We are skewing our diet more towards animal products, less vegetables. That is widely debated. You can debate us if you want. That's fine. We all have our own opinions. That is, again, what makes us feel good. We have spent a long time figuring out what makes us feel good to eat, what makes us healthy. And once we have figured that out, now we can go about growing and raising the food that is best for us.
Yeah.
Some more things to note. We like multi-purpose crops. Just like I don't like one-hit wonders in the kitchen. Thank you, Alton Brown.
Thank you, Alton Brown.
It's just stuck with both of us separately, interestingly enough. There are some things on this list that are one-hit wonders in the garden. Some are fine. When you're looking at self-sufficiency, man, a crop that you can use all the parts of it are great. So, what else?
Well, there's also the fact that, is it reproducible? Is it continuable? Yes. Is it sustainable?
Yeah.
Oh, I buy these specialty seeds from somewhere that
Yep.
How long is that going to work? And we have a few of those. But we know that if things were to happen, the calamity strikes the world, something goes wrong, you lose those. Certain crops that take 2 years to get to a seed. Yep. That's a big window for a terrible weather event or bugs or something else. So we look at what can we easily continue to replant?
Which is the sustainability of that crop.
Yeah. And that's important to look at.
So is the space needed for it? That's another thing that we consider. Certain things just take more space to produce less. Some things are better space savers. We don't have 100 acres. We have 30. And we can't use all 30 of it to grow food. Because there's animals, because there's hills, because there's buildings, there's stuff. We don't have the hugest property in the world. We have to be thoughtful about our space. In this list, there's a few little data points. Protein in things, vitamin C in things. All of that data came from the USDA website. Is it perfect? I don't know if it's right. The internet is a weird place. You search for something and you get 10 different results.
So we just used a USDA standard number.
I should have to pick something to compare.
Yeah.
You might search it and it will come up different. That's fine. I don't know. It's the internet. But that's where we chose. Now the other thing is this is not strictly about calories. We were watching some of these videos and a lot of people go straight to calories per acre. I'm like, okay, so yes, that is a part of what we consider, but calories are not
Calories
everything.
Does not equal happiness.
It also doesn't equal health. It might equal survival, in a survival situation.
But again, calories is not the only thing you need.
And we are also not planning, we're not preppers, we're not planning on survival. We're going to survive, but it's not a dire sort of situation. We are living. This is our life, this is our future, we want to be happy. We also consider the nutrients in things. A lot of, I don't want to pick on people, but I watched the one that was like kale and lentils and quinoa, and I'm like, I'm sorry. Whether you like those things or not, aside from that, those are not going to, just no, I'm sorry.
You sit down a giant bowl of quinoa at like the potluck, you are nobody's friend.
It's also just not diverse enough, I guess. That's a big part of it.
Yeah.
There's also toxins to consider. We've
Kale.
spent a lot of time researching this.
Kale is particularly known to be toxic in high doses. There's actually kale disease when you look it up, and it's too much of a superfood. It has too many of certain things, can cause a whole range of ailments in otherwise incredibly healthy people who are trying to do the very best job and eat super healthy all the time, and they eat all this kale. And yeah.
There's also oxalates in things like beet greens.
Oxalates are the cause of kidney stones. Something to think about. Not fun.
So there's a lot to consider, and we're by no means perfect. We're just trying to figure out what will work for us. All right, are you ready to get into actual crops?
Let's get into it.
Okay. First four are primarily for the animals because we like to eat meat, so it's important. And a big part of that is growing the food for the animals that then we don't have to go buy. Sorghum. I personally think it's kind of a magical grain that people don't talk about very often.
Yeah, sorghum is that quiet kid in the back of the class that nobody mentions and goes really far.
So it has, according to USDA, it has per 100 grams, it has 8.27 grams of protein. Now, yes, it's plant protein. I'm not going to get into that debate. This is strictly for animals. Animals need a plant protein, like the goats. They need a certain amount of protein in plants.
The pigs, chickens, yeah.
Yeah. So sorghum is also, I wrote down dual purpose, and then I realized it's really just multi-purpose.
Sorghum goes a lot of ways. It makes a lovely flour. Makes good bread.
So there's the grain for animals,
yeah,
which is a main reason. There's the grain for us. We like it as a flour. We really like it as just a cooked grain. I don't know what to, most people have never had it. I don't know what to compare it to as a cooked grain. I almost want to say like a barley?
Yeah, closest to a barley. It's good in a soup, like where you would use a barley.
It's good in like a cold salad, like a pasta salad. We're gluten-free, in case we have not. I guess we should upfront that. We're gluten-free. So there are some alterations to our diet. It's great for that. The right varieties can also be pressed into syrup, which is then
you take the stalks and
sorghum molasses.
Yeah, and you make sorghum molasses.
It's delicious.
You can also feed it to animals.
Yes. Now you can feed all of it to animals.
Yeah, so the entire sorghum is usable. And something that we've found here, and we're still testing it, still working on it, because we don't have a real winter, the sorghum doesn't die. It's a grass. If you cut a grass, the grass regrows. And we bloomed some and cut it.
And it didn't just regrow in its one stalk. It regrew in like 5.
Like a grass does.
So it's sort of growing let's say a corm. I don't know if that's the right term.
No, it's a clump.
No, it's got little like underground, like little nodule things.
Like grass.
Which is really interesting. So that may make it an even better crop.
We don't have to replant it once we get it going.
Although
Harvest
you can also replant it so easily because it is a self-sustainable.
Yeah.
You're already picking the grain. Anyway, so that's something that we think is going to be really important for us in the future. Corn, I never thought would make my list. Historically,
we're not corn people.
We've talked about corn before in other videos.
Corn's gotten a bad rap because of the standard GMO yellow corn that makes us not feel well and is not really digestible. But we found here this lovely white corn, got like little red little dots on it. It's a local Criollo
That's what
variety, wild native-y kind of thing. Grows in short, ugly ears.
Super imperfect.
Oh yeah, really good cornbread. Doesn't upset our stomachs.
And it's a completely different texture. It's starchier.
Very starchy.
It's really good. So of course we love it. We'll be growing it for us as a dry corn, for the animals as a dry grain.
If regular corn makes cornbread that is like gritty and like cornbread, sandy. This corn makes corn cake.
It's so good. So we'll be using it for us, for the animals, and again, all of its greens can be given to creatures.
Sure.
Multiple creatures. Alfalfa is not for us. Although, I don't know, I might chew on it. I don't know what it tastes. You asked me last night, what does it taste like? I'm like, I don't know what it tastes like. The goats like it.
So alfalfa is high protein.
It's high energy, high protein.
It's in small amounts good for the creatures.
It is also hardy. It grows really well. It's pretty tolerant of different soils and weathers. It also, the one thing that I think will be really useful for us is it is not something that you just cut and it dies. So it will continue to regrow. If we cut it or if we put animals on it, it should be able to regrow here.
Also good for the soil. It actually helps improve the soil.
Oh, it does. Yeah, you're right. Which is important because we don't have the best soil in the world.
Our soil is a long-term project.
Which is part of why we're not growing all of these things right now, because we've had to...
Problem after problem. We're solving problem after problem. We're like, okay,
getting better every time.
Now I don't know if you can see us, there's like a new patch, a test patch going behind us of beans and corn and stuff. And it's actually... Okay.
Baby steps to...
Baby steps.
Success. Amaranth is 13.2 grams of protein. So it's high protein. I would say it would probably, just purely for a grain source, be better than sorghum. The problem is, I don't know if it will grow where we are. It does not love moist. We are moist.
It's a maybe, depending on the year, when the season thing. It's a maybe.
So, I don't know if we'll grow it.
They grow in Loja.
But we'll see. But I do think it should make the list. I think it's a good high protein option for the animals as a grain. Now getting into other things, we have sweet potatoes. I have a lot of sweet potatoes growing. They're actually doing pretty good.
Sweet potatoes are very, very sustainable. Turns out, so everyone used to buy slips. So sweet potatoes in the spring, you plant them when it's warm and they grow and then you're done. And do you know it's easier than that? Do you know you can just take those vines, and she's been doing this, just snip some vines, just trim it a bit, stick them in water, and they root out. Plant it again.
You have to cut the growing end.
Yeah, the tip.
Yeah.
And it'll just grow more.
Yeah.
It doesn't really hurt it.
No, that doesn't necessarily work if you live in a seasonal place. And that's why we probably never heard of it, because you can't, like when we were in Tennessee, you could only get one growth.
Yeah.
Out of.
But you could also keep some growing over winter in a pot under a window.
I have some. I put whole sweet potatoes in some dirt, and they're just growing.
And it just keeps throwing off shoots.
Super sustainable.
And it's been going for many, many months.
Super, super sustainable. It grows well here because we are warmer, typically. It really has taken off in the last couple of weeks because we've had some good hot weather, and it really enjoys that.
Sorry.
Sorry. Grows very well. As far as a food, it is calorie dense. It's delicious. We really love it.
It's good in soups. It's good as fries. Versatile. Good in other things. If you have way too many, gosh, feed it to the animals too.
The greens are also, they are edible for humans. I don't really have a ton of interest, but they're great for the animals. Everybody loves them.
Yep.
Pigs and goats alike, they all love them. So that means no part is going to waste. Potatoes.
Potatoes.
Oh, I tried so hard not to say it.
She can't say it regularly. She has to.
I have to Irish accent it a little bit. Potatoes. Now, with fat, they are known as the magical survival food.
So it is said that you can survive on purely potatoes and a little bit of fat, like a butter or something else, a little bit of animal fat. And you can survive off that, and your body can synthesize everything else it needs.
Now, I'm not going there because we're not in survival situation. But boy, I like
There's
a
a
good
potato for every occasion. And someone said that, I think it was on the internet, some meme, and I'm
Yeah.
like, wait a minute. Oh, it's fancy dinner? Oh, double baked potato. Oh, it's like a night out, you get some French fries. Oh, it's hanging out like with the guys and things. Oh, it's potato chips. Oh, it's this and that.
Potatoes are, I think, the most
There's a
versatile
potato
thing.
for every occasion.
Yeah.
Love potatoes.
Love potatoes. Again, they're sustainable. You don't need to go buy seeds. You have the potato, you take the potato, you
can
grow the potatoes, you save some of the potatoes, and you stick it back in the ground.
Yep.
And you just keep going. Now, as I'm talking, realize I missed a couple critical things.
Yeah.
I'm always going to miss a couple things. Onions and garlic. I thought about this because what would I cook potatoes with?
Onions, garlic. And this is part of the happiness of things of like, oh, these survival foods. Look, you can plant your whole giant patch of whatever's, and you're like, yeah, we're just going to eat like wheat berries and
Jerusalem artichokes?
artichokes. Yes, and your family will leave you for the roving gangs.
Do you enjoy what you're eating? We love onions in many formats. Pickled?
Onions are a staple.
We love them.
Some of them, yeah.
Caramelized
Garlic.
onions are amazing.
Oh,
Now,
man.
garlic, I don't classify simply as we enjoy it, but it also has a lot of benefits, health-wise.
There is.
Like a massive amount of health benefits. So that is sort of a kind of a dual purpose. Now, again, that one is super sustainable. Garlic is incredibly sustainable. You do, in a tropical climate, have to fake it out a little bit. So far, I have managed. It's supposed to have a cool season before it will regrow correctly, and not just sort of sit there and put up greens and not bulb or not head.
Yeah.
I managed to fake it out by putting it in the fridge for a couple months, and it thinks it got cold
We have a fridge.
naturally, and that seemed to work.
Yeah.
So we will see what happens there. Onions are less sustainable.
Yeah, you let onions go to seed.
Yeah, it's just how long it takes to go to seed, and then you're fighting, insects, anything that you have to let go to seed.
And rain and
seed
mold.
head, yeah, you got mold, you've got insects,
extreme
you've got,
weather.
Yeah, so it is less sustainable. It's still something we're going to.
In a world where the
definitely
weather
have.
seems to be getting crazier every year with more extremes, heat, cold, wind, changing storm patterns, the shorter the window of the crop, I think it goes higher up the list because that it has less exposure to failure.
Yep. Also hardiness of the thing.
Yeah.
So yucca, also known as cassava, also known as like 10 different things.
Yeah.
We actually did a video on harvesting our yucca, which was really kind of fun.
Yeah, actually it was really neat.
It was really interesting.
But the beauty of replanting yucca is you chop the tree down, you dig up your yucca roots. Great.
Which are sometimes huge.
Oh yeah. You take your stem, you cut it into chunks, and you stick it back in the ground. Ta-da! You don't have to do anything else. You
We
walk
also
away.
didn't do anything, even in poor soil. We amended with some sand. It likes looser soil. It's a
You have to dig it up,
root tuber
Yeah.
thing, so
And-
it wants looser soil.
and you don't want to damage it digging it up. So if you can get
Yeah.
looser soil, you can just pull it out of the ground.
So we put some sand in, but otherwise we didn't really do anything to it, and it grew.
Yeah.
It's incredibly easy. It's incredibly low maintenance.
We have to protect it from ducks.
It does take about 9 to 12 months.
It's long, but again, you just go
plant
stick
in
it somewhere and
the
forget
middle.
about it.
So that's awesome. It's super calorie dense.
It is related to anti-inflammatories. It has benefits there. There's certain kinds of arthritis that apparently it helps with.
It's tasty. It's tasty. It's very mild. It's really good in soup. That's our main use. It's also, a lot of people raise their pigs on it here.
It's not a perfect, complete.
Oh no, but
and
it
people
is an
do
addition.
feed pigs only corn and the yucca.
It's not
They-
what we think is correct.
I don't think that the pigs are perfect.
But yucca can be used as a
But they
supplement.
continue on, and that is their entire regimen.
Yeah.
So
Because we live somewhere tropical.
promises.
Promises. Avocados.
Yep.
It was a promise that we would grow avocados. I thought we would end up having to grow them in a greenhouse somewhere year round. Nope, we just moved to the place where they will grow.
I was planting a giant greenhouse for coffee and avocado because promises.
And now we just moved to a place where we can grow them out.
Now we just live in a greenhouse.
It's pretty lovely.
Yeah, the whole property.
Again, of course, not everyone will get to grow avocados, but for us, it is a high-fat, high-calorie,
delicious,
super delicious. Like, it just makes us so happy. And it's really low maintenance because it's a fruit tree.
Have it over your eggs for breakfast. Have it, a sandwich for lunch. Have it like over a thing, a soup for dinner. Guacamole. Avocados.
And it is very low maintenance because it is a tree. Once you get it going, once you have it, it will grow. I don't know how many years an avocado takes to fruit, but it's many.
It's a bunch. It's like 6.
Yeah. So it's a long-term thing.
But eventually,
once it goes, what do you get?
It's like looking at money hanging on a tree. You can also leave it on the tree for a period of time, and it doesn't ripen until it's picked.
Yeah. Which is really nice, because not all fruit is like that. So, other promises.
Coffee.
We
have 2 coffee plants currently. We have more started.
Lots of little babies.
We have lots of babies. We have a whole coffee area that we're going to plant out. We can grow coffee here. That's neat. We have an upcoming video that I'm going to do somewhere in the near future about going all the way from a start of coffee to plant, to grow it, to harvest the coffee, to process it down, to roast it, to drink it. I'm going to do the whole thing in one video.
Which is kind of crazy that we can do that.
Yeah.
It's awesome. No, you don't need coffee to survive. I'm well aware. Oh. Okay, let me finish. You don't need coffee to survive, but you really want it. Is it bordering on need for you?
I like my coffee.
I love my coffee. I spilled my coffee the other morning, and I was so mad.
You were in a foul mood.
Because I wanted my coffee.
I know.
I was so sad. It's amazing, and it's important to us. It's something we love. We enjoy it. It's just part of us.
We also drink especially good coffee. We've gotten very deep into that. That's a whole nother rabbit hole with us. Yeah.
So coffee.
It's incredible. Yep.
And chocolate.
Chocolate.
I don't know why that wasn't part of the promises. Man.
Yeah. I never thought about it.
It just never occurred to me.
Chocolate comes in a package from somewhere. Do you know we live somewhere? Do you know we have wild chocolate? Cacao, growing chocolate.
I love chocolate bars.
It's like growing pickles. Growing on our hill. And we found we're like
it was already established before we bought the property.
And it's unsure whether somebody planted it here or it's literally native wild, has been here since the dawn of time.
It's a little funky. It's not like perfect. It's definitely been wild, at least for a while.
Yeah. But you open it up and there's the fruit inside the thing. There's the seeds, turns into chocolate. It turns out Ecuador has the best chocolate in the world. Mostly it's terribly processed, and that's another story.
Yeah.
But the raw material,
amazing.
We're going to make our own chocolates.
No, I'm just going to say it's healthy. And anyone who wants to argue with me can argue with me. I don't care. There's antioxidants in chocolate. And we're talking real chocolate. We're not talking about milk chocolate. We're not talking about Hershey's. We're talking about chocolate. It's full chocolate essence goodness with a little bit of sugar. And that's it.
It's cacao, a little bit of sugar. Processed.
Which we can also grow.
Yeah.
So, now, back to less fun. I don't know. That was fun. I'd like to stick with chocolate and coffee. Now, brassicas, which are your cabbage, your broccoli, your cauliflower. There's debates about, you shouldn't eat that. That's not really good for you.
There's also studies that say they're really good for you, and they're anti-cancerous, and they're things.
Whatever you want to support what you
It's
think.
good on one hand, it's bad on another.
But we go back to, and we're pretty good at telling, does that make us feel good? Do we feel good when we eat it? I don't know, roasted broccoli, roasted cauliflower.
Oh.
Sauteed cabbage.
Gosh.
Oh, that's also
that
good.
on the side of a plate, like it's delightful.
Delicious. Yeah.
A little bit of roasted garlic in there.
Yeah.
So that's on our list.
It's good in cooler season or cooler climates. We will struggle at least half the year to grow it. But I'm going to give it a shot because you never know what the weather's going to do anymore. Turns out our goats really, really, really enjoy the leaves too.
Yeah.
And the whole thing is really high in vitamin C. Now, I don't eat a ton of fruit. I moved to Ecuador and don't eat fruit. But a lot of the fruit I am allergic or sensitive to. So I don't eat a ton of it.
Yeah.
So I struggle a little bit to get the vitamin C naturally. Turns out broccoli, what does it have? It has like 189 grams of vitamin C per 100 grams.
100
milligrams. There you go. No, that's too much.
There's a few things that are high in vitamin C.
That I guess we don't really think. We think about oranges, we think about mangoes, but broccoli.
Sure.
So there is a benefit. We also enjoy it.
We enjoy
It's
it.
tasty. We love it.
When you're looking at like really good cuisine, getting your variety in there, and that's also part of health is eating a variety of things. Don't just eat the same thing over and over.
Yeah.
Even if it's the greatest thing ever, that doesn't work out so well.
Yeah. Peppers.
Peppers.
What is our main reason for peppers?
Hot sauce. I have a love of hot sauce. Good hot sauce. Flavorful, non-vinegary, non-commercially produced. Got very spoiled.
I know. we eat a lot of hot sauce.
We do.
We do.
Really good.
It is good. So I make my own hot sauce.
Which we should make a video about.
I know, it's just so simple. I always forget to.
It is, but I've never had it before here. Before
It's really
you made
good.
it.
It's also, peppers are also high in vitamin C.
Yes.
For giggles. I got kind of down a rabbit hole of like, what things have vitamin C? So peppers, they're great. We just like them. They're tasty.
They're tasty.
That's it. They're tasty.
Yeah.
Squash. By squash, I mean what most people call winter squash. It's weird to call it winter squash here because it's not winter. But there are quite a few different varieties of squash here. I could not name them. There are many. Go to the market and I'm like,
there's a lot of
and they're weird. They're
hybrid things with stripes and stuff. They look like varieties of winter squash, pumpkin-y, but not orange usually. Maybe some orange. Some are huge.
But
they're delicious. They're nutrient-filled. They're really good.
Again, all of the waste, if you will, can go to all the animals.
Yeah.
So that's great. Now fruit trees and pineapple.
Pineapple was something I never realized we're gonna grow. Turns out we're growing a ton of pineapple. It's really easy. You take the top off the pineapple, you stick it in the dirt. I even did one where I just set it on the dirt.
That somehow still worked. Sometimes if we don't have dirt to stick it in nearby, we stick it in a pot of dirt and then later transplant.
And in months we're like,
oh, I should probably use
there's more leaves than there was when we stuck it there. And then you plant it out, and in a year, there's a pineapple sticking out the top. Well, isn't that lovely?
2 years.
2 years.
Remember, the first one is 2 years,
That's
and
right.
then it's every year after that.
That's right.
So the coolest part to me is it's not just self-sustainable. It's actually more, because that is going to, I don't know how many years it puts out a pineapple, but it's going to put out a pineapple for some amount of years.
Yeah.
And every pineapple you take out of that one plant is going to make another plant. So you are not just
multiplying.
You're multiplying, not just sustaining.
It also
which
takes
is kind of cool.
zero effort. No fertilizer, no cure, nothing.
I've done nothing.
You stick them on a hill or next to the driveway. That's it.
Try to make sure the goats don't eat them, but if they do, they still grow back usually.
Yeah.
They're super easy, and they're tasty.
So, things that you can grow that are delicious and nutritious that take a zero level of effort, man.
Fruit trees sort of speak for themselves.
Yep.
Fruit trees are good.
Yeah.
Fruit's good. All the fruit is good. Every different kind. There's a million different kinds of fruit here. We will grow a variety.
Whatever we can grow here. I got mulberry sitting down here, which is an odd one, but it's from my childhood. Fond memories of mulberries.
We've got those. We've got mangoes. We've got, what else do we have?
Oh.
Some ice cream beans, like of multiple varieties.
Various citrus.
So many random citrus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once you get a fruit tree growing, you check it for bugs every so often. That's kind of it.
Super low maintenance.
A little bit of compost once a year to be nice about it.
Rice. Now, being gluten-free,
Yeah, we eat a lot of rice.
some people would grow wheat as a self-sufficiency crop. Not us, not you. So rice is the grain of choice that we mill into flour for all the gluten-free baking.
Yeah.
So it's important to us.
It's also a normal component of a lot of dinners.
We like rice, and there's gonna be the debate again about rice isn't good for you.
It would be better if we grew our own rice versus wherever the rice comes from, because there is issues with rice picking up heavy metal toxins, cadmiums, things like that. The stuff comes out of China, gets rebagged. You don't really know where it comes from. Some of it's grown like next to coal power plants. It just eats the output. If you can grow it yourself, it's cleaner.
I mean, everything is.
Everything's cleaner.
Yeah. But rice, I think, is important. It's important for us. People do not consider growing their own rice.
You don't have to have a flooded field.
No, turns out it doesn't need water.
That's just to keep the weeds down.
At some point, I should share our duck fried rice plan I wrote out.
There's an entire, almost a business plan, like great.
It actually kind of was.
It's a full, it was like a whole proposal. It's called duck fried rice.
It's great.
And it was a symbiotic relationship of the land, of the ducks, of the rice, of things, and a succession of just continual production of both meat and rice.
And eggs.
And eggs.
All the things you need for fried rice.
Yeah.
That was the whole point. Someday we'll do it. Tomatoes are the black sheep of our list.
Look, we love them. I grew up eating delicious homegrown tomatoes. I can still taste them from 45 years ago when I was a little kid.
We're not going to give them up. Like, let's just be really honest.
They are nightshade. If we eat a ton of it, do we feel good? No.
You know what? Tomato really makes my tummy hurt. And I finally realized this, and I kept sort of just, no, it couldn't be that. It's got to be something else.
Do I want a slice of a beefsteak tomato on a ham sandwich? Yes, I do. Do I want it, with some mozzarella as part of like a little like salad-y thing? Or pizza? Yes, yes.
We're going to. There's just no, we probably would feel better without, yes, we would feel better without it. No, we probably shouldn't eat it.
And they're finicky here. Like,
but you know what? I don't think we're ever going to give it up completely.
No.
So take that for what you will. Herbs and spices are also totally missed.
Totally forgotten all these things. Like, again, your buckets of quinoa and your things and your something and your potatoes and your
calories per acre. I'm like, okay, so where's your joy?
Where's your flavor?
You just grew herbs and spices. You would be much happier with your potatoes.
You just need a little tiny, like, around the edges spots of this.
Oh, and it doesn't take much to really grow a lot of flavor.
No.
So we are in the position of being able to grow pretty much anything we want as far as that's concerned.
Yeah.
Someday we're going to grow black pepper.
Someday.
That's my goal. I don't know how.
Having flavor in your food keeps you and your family happy and less likely to want to kill each other and you're eating of like simple basic foods that taste like bleh.
We eat pretty simple food, realistically.
Very well flavored, perfectly balanced, nuanced, layered.
Yeah.
Oh, happiness. Everybody's happier eating delicious food. Enjoy your life. Have a happy life. Enjoy some flavor.
So herbs, spices, all the things.
Have yourself a spice and herb garden.
Yep. Plantains and bananas. Talk about easy.
So it turns out Ecuadorians, rural Ecuadorians, a large part of their calories is plantain and yuca.
A large part of what they grow to sell as well.
Yeah, but that's mainly what they subsist on as far as nutrients and calories. And partly they take a zero effort. So a plantain or a banana, once it's planted in the ground, just keeps sprouting. And then it grows a fruit. And then in a year, you cut it down, and there's already another one going, and another one, and another one. You can move them around. You could spread it to make more.
It is the most sustainable crop, as in you literally don't even have to take a part of it and replant it. It's just doing it on its own.
You just have to go and cut it down when it's ready. And there's
occasionally you have to prop it up with a stick.
50 pounds of plantain or banana. Yep. Yeah. Really easy. And there's a lot that can be done with that. We never really ate plantain. before coming here,
It was. I made it a
And
couple
bananas-
times, but it was so expensive.
and
in
they
the
weren't
States
they weren't
that-
good.
No,
No,
Then
they're
the bananas
picked
are
way
just-
too green. And
Bananas
bananas,
are sad.
I'm
No.
sorry, but the standard Cavendish banana that everybody eats, it's everywhere, is gross.
I hated. I mean, my mom will watch this, and she will be shocked that I eat bananas. Now, they're still not my favorite thing in the world, but I will eat them. I would never touch a banana even as a child. So clearly, I just knew something.
There's so many interesting flavors and textures and sweetness levels and things here. So we have a variety growing here.
Interesting point that is important when you're looking at the whole picture of crops is that the banana, the whole thing, because you're going to cut it down at one point, is great for animals.
So we use bananas. We buy Aritos because they're really cheap.
Which are
And
little.
everybody, you feed them to the goats. Goats love them.
The pigs love them.
The pigs will jump in flaming hoops for some Aritos.
The dog.
The dog loves them. The ducks, the chickens.
That's all
we
the
eat
animals.
them. Like, that's pretty solid. Now, yeah, you can take the leaves. You feed the leaves to the goats. Oh my gosh, they love them, and they're healthy.
Yes.
They're an anti-parasite, or at least a helper.
Yeah.
You can take the stalks, which is huge. You don't realize, but the stalk of a banana that is one use, and then it goes down, weighs the same as like an oak tree of the same size.
It's not woody, in case no one has ever it's just like watery, juicy,
Pulp.
weird. It's a strange texture.
Yeah.
The pigs will go nuts.
You
for
take
it.
the machete, you whack it in chunks, throw it in there, and they crunch through it
Oh, shut
like
up.
it was jicama or something.
They love it. So that's that. Beets and carrots. Beets and carrots are beets and carrots. We like them. They're tasty.
Delicious pickled, delicious roasted in the oven,
They are
easy to grow,
while they're
hard to start the carrots.
so that's while they're easy to grow, they are not sustainable with their seed production because they're like a 2-year crop to produce seeds, which means you've got to baby them, which means technically they need a winter, which we don't have. It gets difficult, or you're just buying the seeds. So in that way, they're not the best. We will continue to buy seeds. They're cheap here. At some point, if we no longer can, then we will no longer eat them.
Yeah.
We do love beets, though. Chayote. If you don't know about chayote, we did a video.
At the end of this, go
It's-
back and watch our chayote video.
Chayote is good.
We never knew about chayote. It's now in U.S. grocery stores. I've talked to friends
Yeah.
there. They've seen it from Maine to Washington. Go and get some chayote.
They're so good.
Don't just stare at it. Don't just leave it on the counter, because that's so far what everyone has said they did. Yeah. Chop it up and either put it in a stir fry
Pickle
or a soup. Pickle it.
Pickle it.
And refrigerator pickle. You don't have to can them. Just put it in some brine, put it in the fridge for a week, and it comes out, and you're like,
It's crazy versatile.
wow.
It's great in stir fry. It doesn't get squishy, soft.
It's technically
mushy.
in the squash family, but it is crispy and delightful, like a fresh, crisp apple.
It is very similar to a kohlrabi, which I know is also sort of an oddball vegetable, not everybody's had. It's very similar to that. It's also space saving because it's next to us actually. It climbs up, so
You stick it
you're
on a wall.
getting tons of weight of produce.
Yeah, and it's
Off a very
prolific.
small,
You take the thing, you stick it in the ground,
super sustainable.
it grows a vine, it produces a whole
Like
pile
you
of
literally
them.
take the entire fruit and it grows from the fruit. You stick it in the ground and you have a new vine.
That's it.
That's it. It's great. We love it. Everybody should eat it.
Everybody should eat it.
Maracuya.
So, passion
known-
fruit. Now, we have maracuya, I think is how they say it. We have a whole, we built a trellis, we planted a bunch of them, it's vined out. In the very near future, it should flower. We're going to have our own passion fruit production. Now, while this is not a food, this is a drink. We take it, we process it in a syrup, we take our little soda stream, we make soda water. Now I have passion fruit soda. Well, that's delightful, chilled on a summer day.
We are both drinking it right now.
We drink a lot of it because if you have the fruit, the sugar is very cheap, the gas is incredibly cheap, water is free. So we drink fruit sodas all the time at almost no cost.
And much less sugar than a real
Yeah,
soda.
we're at I mean, we've
Yeah.
dialed our sugars down to where our
Yeah.
tastes are.
Now, that also we found out that the seeds are really good for the pigs. They can actually make up a significant portion of their diet. Not that they would for us, but it is good for them.
One of the feeds that we got for the pigs, it's a concentrate. Actually, if you look at it, it has crushed passion fruit seeds as part of it, and it's good for the pig.
Green beans.
Yep, green beans.
Squeaky beans?
Squeaky beans. So they're easy to grow. They're nutritious. They're part of the dog food recipe that we also did a video on. Make our own dog food.
All of these, a bunch of these things actually go into that.
They grow, you pick them, they grow, you pick them, they grow, you pick them. Hey, why not have some green beans?
They're also very space saving because trellis, or bush, but either way.
You don't need a ton of it.
And it's good. Like some things are just like, well, I want to put it on the list. I'm like, well, why? Well, because we like them.
Yeah.
Because they taste good. And sometimes that's enough.
Eating a little bit of a fresh green bean is a lovely, like.
And that's enough. And I think that's important. You can get into the how many calories per acre, or how many calories per square foot, or things, and people get into just crazy.
Well, this one is slightly more efficient than this one. But are you happy?
Are you happy?
So if you look at our list, at what we've just done, and you say, okay, you're stuck just with that, and then the meat, because we're going to do a video on meat. What kind of meals can you create out of just that? Ooh, it's a big list. It is a fantastic list. It's lists that you could have a new menu for a 4-star restaurant, every week for many, many years, is changing up dishes of like the amount of ingredients that you have to throw at it. And all of them are healthful and delicious. Like there's a lot of possibilities with that. And we're going to eat them all.
He just eats.
It's not bad. She's just good at it. It works out. All right.
So those are our crops. It's a long list. We could have condensed it down to like the 6 best crops, but I don't think that's.
Those lists, those videos cheat you out of actually understanding and learning more and getting deep into it.
True self-sufficiency and sustainability is going to include more than 6 crops. It just is.
Or your family will leave you.
And it's also going to include animals. So really, like, as much as we like the vegetables, we really like animals more. So we will be doing that video.
Many of those channels are of people who have chosen to be vegetarian or vegan.
So they focus very heavily on that.
And they're like, there's so much protein and dried beans and things. And we're like...
Well, while that's technically true, we
feel much better eating meat.
Yes.
So
we will get into that next.
There we go. Well, thanks for watching. Hope to see you for the next one.